Hello, this is the TradeSite Forex market preview and international economic data roadmap for the week beginning Sunday, September 11th, the 15th anniversary of 9/11 here in the U.S., ending Friday the 16th, triple expiration week. 16th of Friday, or Friday the 16th will be options and futures contracts and commodities, everything expiring for the quarter. Here's a look at the dollar index daily chart. Forex has not yet picked up coming back from summer. Usually takes a little longer than the stock side does, so I wouldn't say this was a very interesting week here. Here's the euro dollar, looks pretty similar and inverse to the dollar index. I'm just going to go through these quickly because there's not much to really talk about. The pound, dead flat all week. Aussie dollar kind of rolled finally on Friday on some of the news that came out about the bonds. Pound yen, very flat for the week. Euro yen, 200 pip range for the week. Pound Swiss, same deal. New Zealand dollar. There's nothing here to talk about, so I'm just kind of rolling through this. We haven't picked up any action. Intraday activity is still light, as you can see. We'll go to the intraday here in 30-minute candles. High to low for the week on the euro dollar. 180 pips. Maybe it's a little better than last week. But the thing about this one is, if you look at Monday all the way into Tuesday, you were stuck in basically a 40 pip range. Now that was holiday. That was Labor Day holiday Monday, but Tuesday was not interesting. Then there's a big spike that's untradeable. And then from Tuesday all the way to Thursday, you're in basically a 50 pip range, right? And then you break out and come back. So you got to keep it in perspective. Even though it's 180 pips from high to low, that big piece of that is that spike. It's untradeable. Here's pound yen. This one trades 200 pips in range for the week as well. So, it's just not that exciting. I don't know what else to say about that. Hopefully things pick up starting this next week, but, you wouldn't expect it to be Thursday or Friday with options. Triple expiration. All right, let's take a look at the economic data that's coming out this week. Sunday on 9/11, Japan PPI and core machinery orders. Monday, preliminary machine tool orders. Italian quarterly unemployment rate. UK CB leading index. Got the Fed member speaking from here in the U.S., but no morning data here in the U.S. 10-year bond auction in the U.S. New Zealand's FPI, Japan's BSI manufacturing index, Australia's NAB business confidence. China's industrial production, fixed asset investment, retail sales, and foreign direct investment. German CPI and WPI, Switzerland's PPI, money to M2 money supply. There we go. Out of China and new loans out of China. Italian industrial production at 4 a.m. Eastern Time Tuesday. UK does. I love this. I think all countries should do this. They do their entire dump in one process. So CPI, PPI, RPI, all of the HPI, all of the inflationary indices come out all at once. I think that's how it should be done, frankly, everywhere. ZEW economic sentiment out of Germany and the broad European sector. U.S. has its small business index. 30-year bond auction in the afternoon. The federal budget balance at 2 p.m. Current account out of New Zealand that night. Westpac consumer sentiment out of Australia. Now we're into Wednesday. Revised industrial production, French out of Japan. French final CPI. UK unemployment rate. ZEW economic expectations out of Switzerland. Industrial production out of Europe. 30-year bond auction out of Germany. Got import prices out of the U.S., crude oil inventories out of the U.S., business manufacturing index out of New Zealand, and their GDP. China goes on bank holiday. Australia's got their unemployment rate, their employment change, their new motor vehicle sales, and the RBA index bulletin, all at 9:30 p.m. Wednesday night. That's Eastern time. The LIBOR rate out of Switzerland, their bank move of interest rates, like the Fed meeting here. Retail sales out of the UK, CPI out of Europe, along with trade balance. It's two big numbers at 5 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday. Be aware of those. And then 2 hours later, a rate announcement out of the Bank of England. U.S. finally goes nuts with some data before the stock market opens by an hour on Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Retail sales, PPI, Philly Fed, unemployment claims, that's the weekly number, current account, Empire Manufacturing Index, and then followed by capacity utilization, industrial production, business inventories, and natty gas. China remains on bank holiday going into Friday. And then Europe's got their trade balance. Canada's got manufacturing sales. U.S. got CPI. That's one of our big three each month, so we'd be half size ahead of that. We're still half size anyways because the ranges are poor, so you'll be less than half size ahead of that number. And you got the preliminary University of Michigan inflation number, sentiment number. But remember, this is the big key: is not only do we have a decent amount of data, and you have the CPI on Friday, but you've got triple expiration. So Friday should be dead. The reason even some of the currency futures get pegged to prices, and that's what holds the Forex market back from moving. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading week, and we'll start to If we start to see volume pick up and action pick up, we'll get our size back up.